question for you.
What you got?
What's it like having a famous fisherman as a good friend that's close to your age?
You know, you get dragged into doing some stuff. Always there. You always got to help him out and all, but it's pretty fun when you bring him out and go to the bars and stuff because you get to talk to all these girls and you try to help him out. And you think you throw that name around, you say Wyatt Wimberly, professional fisherman, and these girls don't have a clue who he is. You think he'd help you.
What's going on, guys? We're here, Lake Sam Rayburn, Wyatt on the Water show number 2 for the year. We got the man, Clifford Weedman. What's going on, man?
Hey man, what's happening?
Oh, we're gonna catch some fish.
Yeah, we're gonna play in the muddy water today.
That's right, that's right. You know, me and Clifford's been talking about doing some stuff and talking about the history of the legendary company that he worked with and the men that he got to work with in the fishing industry, and Lonnie, and John Hill. We're going to take you a little bit through the company history. We're going to talk about what Clifford did with the company, but we're also going to teach you about catching fish in muddy water with spinnerbaits and swim jigs.
That's right. We're going to do it.
Let's go do it, man.
All right.
Alrighty, guys. So one thing we're doing today is we're targeting just really shallow cover with these spinnerbaits. What's really cool is this is dirty water. Like me and Clifford was talking about, usually, you said you've been catching spots up here?
A lot of spots.
A lot of spots. And what's crazy about that is you wouldn't think spots would be in muddy water, but what we're doing is we're taking these bright chartreuse spinnerbaits and these red blades, and really what attracts these fish to bite is the thrust and the attraction of those blades and the motion in the water. And it takes a really unique spinnerbait to do that. And this guy right here is a part of the company that makes those spinnerbaits. And Clifford, tell them a little bit about, you know, everybody knows Lonnie and John Hale, but tell them a little bit about where you come into play.
Basically, Lonnie and John came into a tackle store I was running and wanted me to work for them. And it was real intriguing because Lonnie was one of my fishing heroes growing up. I mean, I watched him on TV, read about him in the newspaper, and used family baits. The spinnerbaits, the jigs. I mean, I was convinced that at a young age, if you didn't use one of his, you just weren't going to catch anything. So when he offered me a job to come work for him, naturally I hopped on it pretty quick. So my job was to sort of modernize the company. I mean, Lonnie and John weren't any spring chickens, so social media was new to them. So I did a lot of that, a lot of the magazines, you know, the writers, worked with that content. And then I got into taking videos of the product, so that was the creativity part of it. So when they would come to me with a new bait and say, oh, this is it, it's going to do this, this, and this, and I got a hold of it, I filmed it to see how it moved, how it sounded, how it came across the water, prove it to them. So establish a new way of developing new baits is what I did.
Did you ever think, when you took that job, did you like just fanboy out for a little bit and think, I am working for 2 of fishing's most legendary people?
No, it was cool. It was cool just because, like I said, I'm working with one of my heroes. Lonnie became, I was a fan, and then when I worked at another rod company, I guess we became associates. And then he became my boss, one of my bosses, and then he became one of my best friends. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, guys, we're going to continue fishing, and we're going to try to get some fish on camera for you.
Crappie or bass? Not
A little bass.
A little bass. Yep.
Little face flat.
Still got a little color to them.
Look at that. Right in the mouth. Jinko rods. Talking about. Clifford, you might actually have caught fish up here. I might believe you now.
Fun little spot.
Right off of that log. That's one thing about this is, like Clifford was saying, with these dirty waters, you're literally fishing what you can see. It's all about cover. They're on cover. Might have been another one right there.
As you can see, we're turning mud.
Exactly. Yep, there's another one.
Another one, right off the same log.
That's a better one. These little spots will stack up in spots like that. That's what makes them so fun. Clifford, talk a little bit about the baits we're throwing.
These are our dirty water series. Customers wanted this. This was a demand. This is something that got hot. They like the kicker blades on it. The main thing with dirty water are the little kicker blades on it. We got some in chartreuse, orange, and red. The orange and red ones are your most popular. Mostly for dirty water. Real popular in pre-spawn too, which you get a lot of stain water during that time. But yeah, Colorado, double Colorado, Colorado willow, and then double willow on them. So yeah, actually they're one of our best sellers in the spinnerbait. Oh, I missed him.
Look at that.
Yeah.
There he is.
I got it.
Look at that one.
Yep. So as you can see up here where we're fishing at, the water stays pretty stained, so they don't have a real black lateral line down there. They still got a little color to them.
Yeah, a little color to it. All right, 2-1, Clifford.
Yep.
What is loser buying, by the way?
Barbecue sandwich.
Loser buys dinner. I'll take that.
Big tournament out of Frontier Park in Toledo Bend. And the way that he paid for his gas money at the tournaments was people would buy baits, and then he would come up there and sell them at the tournament. He said, well, this one guy had placed this big order, and he didn't show up, didn't buy his baits. So Lonnie didn't have any gas money for his boat. So he didn't get to go anywhere for the tournament. He had to fish right there by Frontier. And he ended up winning the tournament with because he had no gas money to go anywhere else on the lake. That was just such a huge deal because there was just one little strip called the pipeline. He said, all I got to do is go back and forth for the whole time for the tournament. And then ended up winning it. So, Lonnie they were poor growing up, just like a lot of people, did whatever it takes to make ends meet. And when his wife and him came to agreement that he was going to start baits, his first order that he had of supplies that come in, he didn't have money to pay for it. So he told the guy that was delivering all the stuff, he says, come back Monday and I'll pay for it. I got a tournament that I got this weekend.
Let's repeat that.
Alright, so one of my bad fishing accidents was I had a fish hook go in and out of my eyeball one time. And I was at my parents' place, I was fishing, and I had a fluke. It was daylight, didn't have my sunglasses on. And I pulled it up out of the grass, it sort of caught and it boomeranged. When it did, it came back and it hit my left eye, went in one side and then came out the other side of the eyeball. So they took me to the local hospital, and they were like, man, we got to send you to Houston, this is bad. So I got a little worried.
I would be too.
Yeah. And I get down to Houston, the ER doctor, this is Herman Memorial, this is where the bad stuff is. He goes, yeah, this is bad. So I started getting worried and stuff. And they ended up getting with all these doctors on what they were going to do. I thought, they'd just sort of cut it and drag it out the other side. But it was so close to the pupil of my eye that they said if I did anything wrong, I would lose my eye, go blind in that eye. So the decision that they made wasn't exactly my most popular. They numbed my eye with some gel, and they said if I was you, I wouldn't move. And they ended up cutting my eyeball open with a scapula. Cut it completely open. I saw them do it, stick the knife in my eye and cut it, and then pull the hook out. Alright. If that wasn't bad enough, they immediately took me to another part of the hospital. And I got to see another guy do another surgery on my eye where he sewed it up with a needle. So then I got to see them stick needles going in and out of my eyeballs.
Jesus.
So that's why you should always wear your sunglasses. Because if I would have had sunglasses, it would have just popped off of it and fell off. So instead, I ended up with a $13,000 bill for one day of fishing. So it wasn't cheap. That was a 4-aught Gamakatsu that I still have at the house as a reminder.
How?
Yeah. It's a real life horror movie.
That was a little bitty.
That is a spot right there.
Weber, tell me a little bit about the behind the scenes of being a manager of a major fishing company in the bass fishing industry. Like, what does that consist of? What do you do day in and day out to make a company run?
It's not all fun and games like people think. I mean, I wear a lot of different hats: social media, pro staff, sales, development, research. I mean, I sort of do it all, but it's not work. I mean, because if you're like, man, I can't wait to do this, you know, I'm lucky. I'm definitely lucky. You know, I got to go to shows. You got to plan events. You know, there's going to be a lot of travel. There's going to be a lot of weekends, but that's just part of it. But I wouldn't change any of it, not at all. It's just fun meeting new people. Like I said, I got a lot of connections. My fishing heroes, superstars, current, you know, I get to meet them all, so that's really a nice perk for sure. Yeah, it's just fun. You know, when you get to do your hands-on stuff, that's really neat.
What does product development, like, a lot of people want to know, like, what it takes to develop their bait, like what that's like, how much time it takes, the process. Talk a little bit about that. You have a lot of baits that you market and have to sell and stuff like that. So what is product development like for you?
Well, rule number one is you got to listen to what your customers want. I mean, you can come up with something new and it may be a hit, but your customers are going to tell you what they need, what they want, what a new trend is. So you've got to come up with an idea and you've got to research it. You've got to make sure you're not infringing on any other else's patents. And then you start making prototypes, and you start testing them. Then you film them underwater. So, and if they still work, then you got to put a price point with them, how much it's going to cost to make, how much you're going to sell it. And then you start sending stuff out to your pro staff to see if they like it. Start sending stuff out to your buyers before you even put it on the market. So it could take 6, 7 months sometimes. I mean, if you want a mold or something, it's not like abracadabra. So, you know, it normally takes 2 or 3 times before you get it right. But the more advice and the more you get from people, oh, there's a good one.
That's a good one.
Get them out. Oh,
That's a decent one out there.
he's up there in that deep water, that foot of water.
Look at that, son. Light on the water, baby. Definitely, what do you think of that?
I like that one. I put that one in the live well any day in a
I
tournament.
do too. Look at that. Barely hooked.
He's up there in about a foot of water.
Boy, these fish are beautiful, aren't they?
Yep.
Look at this right here, though. You want to know how this fish is post-spawn? Look at that tail. Beautiful fish. Clifford, I think we need to get some more of these, buddy.
Absolutely. Very nice. There he is.
There you go. That's a better one.
Yeah, keep it. These fish are literally in a foot of water. I mean, a trolling motor.
It's crazy.
The trolling motor's kicking up mud, so, and we're just about in the month of May. These fish have already spawned, but they're still up here in just barely knee-high water. Fish these long creeks, just
Really?
a little, yeah. There he is.
There you go.
That one was in the, I mean, as soon as it hit the water. Now this one's a spotted bass. Like I said, spots don't get real big on Rayburn, but that's sort of odd. A lot of things that people don't know about some of the things that Lonnie did was the silicone skirt. You can thank Lonnie for that. Lonnie was big in the hand tying skirts, and him and another gentleman got together, and they were the first ones that did hand tied silicone skirts. You know, back in the day, it was. Sorry, I got interrupted there. It's a big spot there. Look at the size of this spot. Ate it.
Dude, he chomped that thing.
Yeah. They don't get real big in Rayburn, but I mean, they're pretty and they are hard fighting.
Right?
Little dudes. They love that spinnerbait. Yeah, so, you know, back in the day, the skirts were rubber, which were good, great action skirts, but they get hot, they melt, just make a big mess and everything. So, like I said, when Lonnie and that other gentleman developed that, you know, that's when silicone skirts came on the market. So that was a big thing for him. Big thing that a lot of people don't know, that, you know, he is one of the creator of the silicone skirt for bass fishing. And that's all I got to say about that. Oh, there you go. There. Look at this. Another foot longer. Oh, there's him out there. A long.
Might have missed one over here.
Yeah, so Scott Martin was doing his tip of the day. And he was talking about this lizard, and he goes, what you want to do is when you get that lizard, you pitch it over there. When he did, I hit that whoopee machine. And he goes, and you want to pitch it right over there. They stopped, and they looked at each other. Scott looked at the guy in the back of the boat, the camera guy's looking at both of them. No one's owning up to it. No one's taking claim to it. So we stopped, let him do it again. About a while ago, we hit it again while he's making the tip. All I can see is the camera guy. I can't even hold the camera. He's just shaking so hard. That was so funny.
That's one thing about him, is he can talk on camera and all that, but when it's game time, he's locked in.
He can fish, there is no doubt about it. But like I said, he is smart. Another spotted bass. Muddy, shallow water. Doesn't make any sense. Parker, got a question for you.
What you got?
What's it like having a famous fisherman as a good friend that's close to your age?
You know, you get dragged into doing some stuff, always there, you always got to help him out and all, but it's pretty fun when you bring him out and go to the bars and stuff, because you get to talk to all these girls and you try to help him out. And you think you throw that name around, you say Wyatt Wimberly, professional fisherman, and these girls don't have a clue who he is. You think he'd help you out some, but it really doesn't.
Who's a better fisherman, you or him?
Oh, I mean, I've taught him everything he knows.
Oh, I got you. All right.
Anytime he needs some advice, you have to call me up. No, Wyatt's a real good fisherman. He's, I gotta be honest with him. He's taught me a lot in the little time that I've known him over the past few years. He actually came and helped me rig up my grandpa's depth finder the other day, and he put a whooping on me when we were fishing.
Oh yeah. Live scope?
No, sir, not the love scope. He got a new Garmin Striker 9.
Okay.
I think it was one of the first times me and him went and hung out together. We had a little flipping competition behind the counter at Academy. I guess it's tied to who's better fisherman. We had a little 5-gallon bucket and just these little rods we were flipping in there. And I kicked his butt. I just went to town on him. He had to go buy me a steak dinner. And we ended up going to Longhorn, not Longhorn Steakhouse, Outback. Took a while for him to bring me though.
So another thing that people don't know that Lonnie did in the fishing industry is he invented the wedge blade. Actually had a little bit of inspiration from Rick Clun on it. And what's special about the wedge blade is, it looks like a regular willow leaf, or the Colorado, but it's thin right here, and then as it gets towards the end of the blade, the metal actually gets thicker. So what that does is that actually puts off a lot of vibration when you reel it. So when you throw a regular blade and you throw a wedge blade, you can tell the difference. It gives it a lot more vibration on it. And that, like I said, and still to this day, nobody does that. I mean, this was a patented blade for us for a long time. Pretty cool. Actually, when he passed, I had his office sealed.
I remember that.
Yeah. And it's still sealed.
You know, when I first met Lonnie, when we did that show 2 years ago, I remember me and you knew each other, but I didn't know Lonnie, you know. Lonnie didn't know me. And when I walked into the office, there's one. Got rudely interrupted.
Yeah.
Good little fast. But I remember, like, you know, I was about 17 then, and we did the show in his office, and he was so welcoming. Like, I was just a young kid in the fishing industry. My show was just starting out, 17 years old. You know, I was making some noise in the industry, but nobody really knew who I was. And the only person I knew in that office was you. And Lonnie was just so, for the amount of stuff he did for our industry, he was humble.
Right.
If a man could ever brag about his accomplishments, that man could. He could go all day about what he accomplished, but he was humble about it.
Yep.
He was just like a everyday, and he treated me like I was one of his own. Like he would show me designs, he gave me baits. He's a special person. He made you feel at home, he made you feel important. And I remember one thing he told me when we got done doing that show, he said, if you stick with it, he said, you can go somewhere. He said, you got the gas. And I never forgot that. And that always gave me the confidence to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, Lonnie he would speak to anybody. He never felt like he was too good not to speak to somebody. And that was just his personality. I mean, he enjoyed it too. I don't know how many times after time he'd come in and talk to customers, tell me, you know, he spoke to this customer and they got the biggest kick and everything. Lonnie never thought he was someone super special, better than anyone else. You know, as far as his fishing, he won so many tournaments in Texas. You know, made it to the Classic 5 times. You know, but his comment was, and I remember this till the day I die, he said, I wasn't the best, but I was pretty good. So that was just who he was. I mean, he loved everybody. Even ones he didn't like, he loved them. May not love them as much, but he thought highly of everybody. That was just the type of guy he was. Those are shoes that you'll never be able to fill.
Right.
One of the things that Lonnie did, you know, talking about tournaments that he won, one tournament he won a El Camino, a loaded out black and gold El Camino. I mean, this thing was so awesome. And then the next week, he went up there to the same place and won the black and gold bass boat to go with it. You know, those are just prizes you don't see anymore, and stories you don't get to see. It's all about cash now. But back then, it was about prizes, you know, so those are stories and stuff I have pictures of that, you know, that are just cool to see, cool to remember for sure.
What's going on, guys? We just wrapped up. Man, we caught some fish.
We did catch some fish.
You impressed me. You actually came through.
Yeah, it happens.
I was doubting you a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. When I pulled up and seen the muddy water, I was doubting you a little bit.
Yeah, no, they were all in about 2 feet of water.
Exactly where you caught them.
Yeah. So.
Exactly. But no, I really enjoyed it, man. You know, Lonnie was a special guy to me. You know, you're a special friend as well. We've known each other for a while. And
fun. It's the whole thing. It's not work. It's just fun. So it's living. That's what I call it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. We're gonna go get some Mexican food.
Right. Yes. Someone needs to buy me some dinner.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. All right, guys. We just got done filming. Loaded up the boat. Successful day. Even the cameraman got to fish a little bit. But we're in East Texas. And what do you do in East Texas when you're hungry? Go eat some Mexican food. So we're going to go eat some Mexican food, wrap up the day. Great day out here on Rayburn. Man, we had a blast fishing with Clifford and learning all about the ins and outs of managing a successful fishing company. Guys, we're going to go eat some great Mexican food, and we're going to have a great time.